God couldn't be everywhere, so he made parents. And to honor and respect those parents is the first duty of a child. The story that we're going to read today is about Taro, who was a very thoughtful and a hard-working son and wanted to give all the happiness to his father. I'm Kapila here to narrate the story of Taro from the chapter Taros Reward. Let's see. A young woodcutter named Taro lived with his mother and father on a lonely hillside. All day long, he chopped wood in the forest. Though he worked very hard, he earned very little money. This made him sad, for he was a thoughtful son and wanted to give his old parents everything they needed. So, the hero of our story, the protagonist of our story, Taro, is so thoughtful and he worked so hard just to give everything what his parents needed. He lived on a lonely hillside and he was a woodcutter. So by cutting the wood, he used to earn the money. But that money was very little, very less money he could earn. And so he worked really hard to give happiness to his parents. One evening when Taro and his parents were sitting in a corner of their hut, a strong wind began to blow. It whistled through the cracks of the hut and everyone felt very cold. Suddenly Taro's father said, "I wish I had a cup of fake." The pronunciation is fake. It's given here. It's a Japanese word and SA is pronounced like FA in father and KE rhymes with way. KE is not pronounced as way but rhymes with way. So the pronunciation becomes fake. It would warm me and do my old heart good. So there was cold breeze one day, and now because the hut was made up of wood, so when wooden planks, they've got some slits in between, some gap is there in between those planks, the wooden boards that made the walls of the hut, and through those walls, the wind, the cold breeze that came inside, they all felt very cold, they were shivering. And at that time the father wished if he could have some fake to drink. This made Taro sadder than ever, for the heartwarming drink called fake was very expensive. How do I earn more money? He asked himself, how do I get a little fake for my poor old father? He decided to work harder than before. So he was a very thoughtful son. He really wanted to give that drink to his father, and he knew that the drink was very expensive, very costly. He needed a lot of money to buy that drink. So he thought what he should do, he should work even more harder. So he was very unhappy that he didn't have money, and now he decided that he would work very, very hard, harder than before, so that he could earn more money and buy that fake for his father. Next morning, Taro jumped out of bed earlier than usual and made his way to the forest. He chopped and cut as the sun climbed. And soon he was so warm that he had to take off his jacket. His mouth was dry and his face was wet with sweat. My poor old father, he thought, if only he was as warm as I. See, at that time also, he's so thoughtful. He is cutting the wood and chopping the wood, cutting and chopping. The sun has climbed up. He's sweating. He's feeling warm. He has put off his jacket. He's so tired. But still, he's not thinking of that tiredness, but he's thinking of the father. He wished that his father also could feel the warmth that Taro himself was feeling. At that time, Taro was sweating, he was feeling warm. So he wanted that his father also should feel the same warmth. Such a thoughtful son he was. And with that, he began to chop even faster, thinking of the extra money he must earn to buy the fake to warm the old man's bones. because the father was shivering with cold. He thought that I should work even more harder, and very fastly he started chopping and cutting the wood because he wanted to earn a lot of money. His mouth was dry, he was sweating, all wet, but still he wanted that he should be working hard to earn the money to buy fake for his father. Then suddenly Taro stopped chopping. What was that sound he heard? Could it possibly be rushing water? Taro could not remember ever seeing or hearing a rushing stream in that part of the forest. He was thirsty. The axe dropped out of his hands and he ran in the direction of the sound. So suddenly what happened? That Taro, he heard the sound of rushing water, as if the water was flowing with great force. And then he started, rewinding his thoughts, and he was not able to remember that there was a stream or a waterfall in that part of the forest. But still, he was feeling very thirsty. He wanted to drink water, so he dropped the axe that was there, with the help of which he was cutting the wood, and he ran in the direction of the sound. So wherever the sound was coming, he ran into that direction only. Taro saw a beautiful little waterfall hidden behind a rock. Kneeling at a place where the water flowed quietly, he cupped a little in his hands and put it to his lips. Was it water? Or was it fake? He tasted it again and again, and always it was the delicious fake instead of cold water. So it was the waterfall that was there behind a rock, and where the water was quietly flowing, there he knelt down on the knees, and he made a cup of his hand, and in that he drank some water. But when he drank it, he found that it was delicious fake. So he thought, oh, it must be something that I have a delusion in my mind. Just like that only I'm thinking. So again he drank, and again it was the same delicious fake. So he tried again and again, and every time it was the delicious fake. Taro quickly filled the pitcher he had with him and hurried home. So, the people who go there to work in the forest and all, they carry bottles also, clay bottles. So that bottle is a pitcher, a jug sort of thing, and that he had. In that he filled the fake and he hurried home that day. The old man was delighted with the fake. After only a swallow of the liquid, he stopped shivering and did a little dance in the middle of the flow. So he felt warmth there. The father of Taro, just he swallowed a little and he felt so warm that he danced there in the middle of the flow. That afternoon, a neighbor stopped by for a visit. Taro's father politely offered her a cup of the fake. The lady drank it greedily and thanked the old man. Then Taro told her the story of the magic waterfall. Thanking them for the delicious drink, she left in a hurry. By nightfall, she had spread the story throughout the whole village. So now what happens is that whenever a guest comes to our home, we offer drink. Okay, maybe we give tea, or maybe lemon juice or something like that. So similarly, when there was a visitor there from a neighbor there who came to Taro's home, the father offered that delicious drink. So she was having that drink very greedily, and then she left there after listening to the story of the magic waterfall, and then she told that story to everyone there in the whole village, and this is how the whole story of the magic waterfall spread everywhere. That evening, there was a long procession of visitors to the woodcutter's house. Each man heard the story of the waterfall and took a sip of the fake. In less than an hour, the pitcher was empty. So by evening, there was a whole line, a huge line was there, a long line of people were there, and they were visiting there to the woodcutter's house just to listen to the story, and they all drank the fake. And in an hour, the whole pitcher, he had filled a whole pitcher and got home, but that whole pitcher of fake got finished. Next morning, Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. He carried with him the largest pitcher he owned, for he intended first of all to go to the waterfall. When he reached it, he found to his great surprise all his neighbors there. They were carrying pitchers, jars, buckets, anything they could find to hold the magic fake. Then one villager knelt and held his mouth under the waterfall to drink. He drank again and again, and then shouted angrily, "Water, nothing but water." Others also tried, but there was no fake, only cold water. So next morning, Taro thought that I would get up early. He got up early and he took the largest pitcher that was there at his home. And he thought that early morning only he will go to the waterfall, he will fill the whole pitcher and he would get that at home. But when he reached there, he found that all the villagers, the neighbors, they were already there, and they were having, some were having jars, some were having buckets and pitchers and things like that, whatever they could bring to get the fake that was there. But one of the villager, he knelt down on his knees, he sat down, he made a cup with the hands and then drank. It was only water. So they all tried and it was water there. It was not the delicious fake. "We have been tricked," shouted the villagers. "Where is Taro? Let us drown him in this waterfall." But Taro had been wise enough to slip behind a rock when he saw how things were going. He was nowhere to be found. So now when people, they started drinking that, they found that it was only water, it was not fake. So they all thought that they had been made fools, and they all started crying and shouting that, "Where is Taro? And we will drown him. We will plunge him here in this waterfall and we will kill him." So Taro was very wise. He hid behind a huge rock and nobody could find Taro. Muttering their anger and disappointment, the villagers left the place one by one. Taro came out from his hiding place. Was it true? He wondered. Was the fake a dream? Once more, he caught a little liquid in his hand and put it to his lips. It was the same fine fake. To the thoughtful sun, the magic waterfall gave the delicious fake. To everyone else, it gave only cold water. So the villagers, they were standing there, they were mumbling and muttering their anger, they were speaking bad words for Taro, all that they were doing, and slowly and gradually they started leaving the place. When everybody left, then Taro thought, was he just having a dream? Was it actually fake, or it was only water? Because to everyone else it was giving only cold water. So again he went there and he knelt down, he made a cup and he drank some of it. And again it was the same delicious fake for him. So the magic waterfall gave fake only and only to the thoughtful sun, the good sun, and to the greedy villagers, it gave only cold water. The story of Taro and his magic waterfall reached the Emperor of Japan. He sent for the young woodcutter and rewarded him with 20 pieces of gold for having been so good and so kind. Then he named the most beautiful fountain in the city after Taro. This, said the emperor, was to encourage all children to honor and obey their parents. So slowly and gradually the story of Taro and his magic waterfall, it spread everywhere and it reached to the Emperor of Japan. So the Emperor of Japan called Taro to his palace and he gave him 20 pieces of gold as a prize, as a gift he gave. And he also named a huge fountain that was there in the city after the name of Taro. And why he did all this? Because he really wanted the other children to honor and obey their parents. So he wanted to encourage them. He wanted that the other children also should be doing the same. Now let us do the exercise. Question 1. Why did Taro run in the direction of the stream? Taro ran in the direction of the stream because he was feeling thirsty. Question 2. How did Taro's father show his happiness after drinking fake? After drinking fake, Taro's father showed his happiness by doing a little dance in the middle of the floor. Question 3. Why did the waterfall give Taros fake and others water? The waterfall gave fake to Taro because he was a good and thoughtful son, and to the others it gave only cold water because they were greedy and bad. Why did the villagers want to drown Taro? The villagers wanted to drown Taro because they thought Taro had tricked them, as the waterfall did not give fake to them. Next question. Why did the emperor reward Taro? The emperor rewarded Taro because he wanted to encourage the other children to honor and obey their parents. Now we have MCQ. We have 3 choices and we have to mark the right answer. Taro earned very little money because he didn't work hard enough, the villagers didn't need wood, and the price of wood was very low. The third one is the right answer. Next question. Taro decided to earn extra money to live a more comfortable life, to buy his old father some fake, to repair the cracks in the hut. The second one is the right answer. The third one. The neighbor left Taro's hut in a hurry because she was delighted with the drink. She was astonished to hear Taro's story. She wanted to tell the whole village about the waterfall. The third one is the correct answer. Now, the next question is, Taro wanted to give his old parents everything they needed. This shows that he was thoughtful, considerate, loving, kind and hard-working. Okay, from the box we have selected the words. Now let us come to the next question. Now this is reference to context. Okay, we have a line and then we have questions at the bottom of it. This made Taro sadder than ever. This refers to, we have 3 choices. A strong wind that began to blow, Taro's father's old age, Taro's inability to buy expensive fake for his father. The third one is the right answer. This, said the emperor, was to encourage all children to honor and obey their parents. This refers to the most beautiful fountain in the city, rewarding Taro with gold and giving the fountain his name, sending for Taro to hear his story. The second one is the correct answer. Now, we have a box here and we have to pair the same rhyming words. Like, see, we have stop and chop. We have fast and last. Similarly, you can do the others. Okay, you have this wax and axe. Similarly, do the others. Now, let us come to the next exercise, which is fill in the blanks. A dash woodcutter, a young woodcutter, lived on a lonely hillside. He was a dash son, a thoughtful son, who worked hard but earned little money. One day, he saw a beautiful waterfall hidden behind a rock. He tasted the water and found it delicious. So the words are here in the box. I have put them here in the blanks. Now, find these sentences in the story and fill in the blanks. This made Taro dash than ever sadder. He decided to work harder than before. Next morning, Taro jumped out of bed earlier than usual. He began to chop even faster. Next morning, Taro started for work even earlier than the morning before. Now see, The story Taros Reward shows that Taro is thoughtful, hardworking, and also wise. So, read aloud the parts of the story that show these qualities in Taro. You read all that and you will be able to develop the same in your own self. Now, write a paragraph or two about the two stories, comparing them. What are the two stories? The one is of Taro and the other one is that of Patrick. There also something magical had happened in Patrick's story. There an elf had come to help him do the homework, and here it was the magic waterfall that was there. The magical waterfall, it gave Fake. So you have to write a paragraph comparing the both stories, and this is your homework. We will meet in some other video with some other stories which give us some lessons of life and which teach us the virtues of life. Till then, take care.